Welcome to a Savage 3D, new video. Today we're going to be talking about the K2 Plus and the leveling on the K2 Plus. So I've been in Facebook, seen all the groups, seen a lot of people having issues with bed leveling. And I'm not going to go into specifics there, but a lot of it has to do with some people don't know how to use Klipper the way Klipper is supposed to be used. Now, my K2 Plus is going to look different than yours because I use Mainsail. There's a YouTube video out there, you root the printer, command line, but it's the same as Fluid. You'll understand. So, first thing we're going to do, and we're going to talk about this, is heat soaking. You are using a large bed. The bed needs to be heat soaked. I typically do 100°C, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then we level. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to talk about a couple things. One thing you're going to need is aluminum tape. You can buy a roll of them for like $6. I use it on the enders, use it on all that. It's great. Second thing we're going to be talking about is mesh. The printer CFG, all that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all what's happening, what we're going to do. So if you look, this is my current K2 Plus mesh. And if you see, you can come over here and you can see it's 0.296 high and negative 0.172 and all that. I could get it lower than this. I just don't feel like messing with it anymore. When I got this bed, it was a 0.9 difference with 0.4 high spots and 0.4 low spots and a whole bunch of other stuff. So what we're going to talk about is our mesh. So this is your mesh. You can see your probe points here. Now the stock probe beam uses a 9x9 mesh. Now what does that mean? That means every one of these probe points is only 9x9. Now this is a 9x9 mesh. Here's a couple other different meshes here. And you can see the difference here. And these are for different heat ranges that I have. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the printer CFG. So you go into your machine settings. You scroll down and you'll look for, let's see, printer CFG. So in here we have this, and you can also use this menu. So we're looking for bed mesh. Bed mesh. And it jumps the page down to bed mesh, which is down at the bottom. You'll want your probe count. You set that at 25 by 25. Now, after we're done leveling, we will set this back. The reason for that is when it does its pre-level, before it starts, and you can turn that off, and I can show you how to turn that off. We'll do that after all this, so stick around, watch the whole video, find out something. But when you have this set up at 25 by 25, the printer technically does not know what you're doing, so the screen freaks out a little bit, and it will throw an unknown error, unknown exception, an 8 series code or whatever. I ignore them, because I normally use the Klipper interface or the Mainsail interface anyway. But you just change that back and that'll get rid of the error. So you'll change that and you'll save it. It'll restart the printer. I can't because I'm physically printing right now. But you'll do that and you'll save it. Then you'll come back out of the printer CFG and you'll go to your dashboard. You'll raise your heater bed up to 100°C, which it's currently at. And here you can see my printing. You don't need to change anything else. You let it heat soak. You home it. And then you come to the height map and you run that. You look at where your low spots are. So like here. See how this is low here? So what I would take is on this side of the bed, which you can see your X and your Y axis. So here would be the front of the bed. So this would be the front of the bed, and this would be, both sides of the bed. So on this corner here, I would put a piece of tape, and on the corner back here, I would put a piece of tape. And then I would rerun the mesh. rerun the mesh, see what needs to change. If I'm happy with it and it looks flat enough, go ahead and send it, which is basically what I did with the other one. Now with this one, you can see it's still the 9x9 mesh. And, you know, I know that back corner's low and I should raise it up. But as you level it, this bar here will get better. So, you know, when you drag it down, you won't see your high spots anymore. You know, you can drag it down here and you can see. Okay, so what does the 25x25 mesh do? That increases your probe points. So if we look here, and I'll drag up, it probed at X 132 and 175, and it didn't probe again until 175 on the X scale. So between those 2 points, it is guessing right there. Now what this does is it increases your probe point, so that's no longer a guess, and you're actually getting a detailed map of what your bed looks like. This aids in leveling, this helps in, you know, a lot of things. And people don't understand that's how a lot of this works. Now, we can go back into the printer CFG, and we will, I'll just pull up one of these other CFGs. There is a setting here, see if I can find it. Forced leveling. See where it says true? Change that to false, and it will not level every time you start the print. I leave mine on because I like to create a mesh every time. I mainly create new, I normally do a lot of different materials every time I print, so it's better to create that mesh. But you don't have to. So that being said, if you turn that off, it will use the mesh that you saved at the 25x25 as you have set in Orca, and it will fix a lot of problems that you guys are having. There's a lot of things you can do here, and one of these days I'll end up going over doing a Klipper video and explaining my enders and stuff you can change. But this is where a lot of people are getting stuck. They're not understanding you can troubleshoot these printers through Klipper. It's like, if I go back to the Mainsail interface, and a lot of people don't know what that is, all you have to do is put your IP address of your printer into the address bar, which you can see right here, 1408 on tag, and this allows, you know, you to do it. And as you can see, it loaded my bed mesh. It also loaded those, and it will, you know, I can exclude. Now when you have errors, they will pop up in this console, and you can also do things in this console. Like this one doesn't have it, but if I switch to one of my enders, I think it's 19. Switch to one of my enders, you know, you can see all these codes, and if you click this button here, it'll pop up the box, and you can see bed mesh codes like axis twitch compensation, you know, stuff like that. These are codes that you can use. And what a lot of people don't understand is when you're having leveling issues, this probe underscore accuracy, that shows you how bad your leveling sensor is off. You should be within 0.005, and it's like if I run this on the ender right now, it will probe out my probe, and it will show, you know, how accurate it is. And it will also, you know, like right now it's probing the mesh, and I'll get information. See? So it shows what the accuracy is. And then it will sample them all and show you what your deviation is. Now this is with the CR Touch. It is not with a strain gauge like the K2 Plus has, but, you know, you can see where it is. So you're already seeing the deviation here. So, you know, 2.63, 2.64, 2.63, you know. So the standard deviation is 0.002. The maximum you're supposed to have is 0.005 on those touch sensors. So this is a really good touch sensor. you know, that's giving me an accuracy of that. So that's just something to keep in mind, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, you can comment on the video. We can exchange information. I can help you all out. I don't mind it. So yeah, check out the next videos I have.